This video shows how to use the print screen button or the Windows Snipping Tool to take a snapshot of your desktop. Why would you want to take a snapshot? You might want to send a snapshot of a program that you've just bought in an email to a friend of yours. Or you might want to include a snapshot of an error in a program and a problem report to that program's creator. Or you might want to include a snapshot in a problem report of a website page to the creator of that website. This is a Tom's Tech Notes video. There are over 200 computer help and hobby videos on my channel page. To visit the channel, you can type this URL into your browser. You can search for TOMSTDA. The Google search works much better than the other searches. If they appear in your video window, you can click my name, Thomas Wallace, my photo, or a clickable link. To be notified when videos are added or updated to the channel, click the red subscribe button and request email notification. The following demo uses the on-screen keyboard. To show the on-screen keyboard, start typing in the search box. As soon as on-screen keyboard appears on the list, you can press enter. On the window that appears, you can turn on the on-screen keyboard. Then you can close the window and you can move it over to the monitor that we're recording. You can change the size. Now the print screen button is on most keyboards is on the top row. It's been on the keyboards a long time, and it offers several ways to copy all or parts of the desktop. It works okay when you're using one monitor, but I don't recommend it if you use more than one monitor, and we'll see that in the demo. If you press print screen, it saves a snapshot of both monitors side by side on the clipboard as a portable network graphics file or PNG file. You can paste the clipboard into any document that will accept PNG files, and let's use WordPad. Once you open WordPad, it's open for inserting, and just press Ctrl-V to paste in the clipboard. There's, like I said, there's a snapshot of both monitors side by side. If you're only using one monitor, there's no problem, but if you're using two monitors, it's probably not that useful a snapshot. So you can copy that in anywhere, including into any document that'll accept PNG files, and you can also paste it into an email. Another way to use the print screen button is to hold down the Windows logo key, then press print screen. Now that does two things. It copies both screens onto the clipboard, but it also copies them to a web location. This location is C, users, your username, pictures, screenshots. That's the folder they're in. I recommend you create a shortcut to that folder on your desktop. If you're using one monitor, it's much easier to use print screen to either save to a file or save to the clipboard. Two monitors, I'd really recommend you use the Snipping Tool. If you hold the Alt key down and then press print screen, and there is an open window that is selected, that will save a snapshot of that open selected window on the clipboard. If no windows are selected, this command, Alt Print Screen, will save a snapshot of both monitors. To demonstrate the Alt Print Screen command, here are my two monitors. The right monitor has an open, empty WordPad document that I will paste in the results of each of the tests. To the right of that is an open folder, and on the left monitor I have an open text file. For the first test, I will click an empty area on the desktop to deselect all the open windows. Then I press Alt Print Screen. Both monitors were captured by Alt Print Screen since there were no selected windows. If you were only using one monitor, of course, you would have just captured the one monitor. For the second test, I click the open text file to select it and use Alt Print Screen. Only the selected text file was copied. And for the third test, I will click the open folder on the right monitor and then press Alt Print Screen. And here's the result of that. The Snipping tool was introduced with Windows Vista. It is updated occasionally, and this tutorial was prepared on December 15th, 2017. This window appears when the Snipping tool is opened. If you click New, it will snip using the last settings of the selection method and any options that have been set. If you click Mode, you can change the selection mode, and we will go over those modes in a moment. But when you change the mode on this window, it executes immediately. So you want to change the mode last if you're going to change the options. Change the options, then select a new mode, and then it will execute. Again, if you click New, it will use the current options and the last remembered selection mode used. For this demo, I'll be snipping with the various modes and options. The Snipping tool saves the snips on the clipboard, and I will be pasting the clipboard into this blank WordPad document to show you the results of the different snips. I've made a copy of the options here to refer to during the demo, but this copy won't be updated if I change options during the demo. First of all, hide instruction text. If you set this one, it will hide the instruction text. The instruction text is right here. So if you hide it, this line would not appear. And this basically tells you where the snipping tool is in execution, what it is waiting for you to do next. And now it's waiting for you to select the mode using the mode button or to click the new button. If you click the new button, it'll use whatever has been remembered for the mode. You can see that by clicking this arrow. It has remembered the freeform snip. So if I click new, it'll do the freeform snip, but if I click it here, it will also do it. So let's first demonstrate the freeform snip, and I'll do it by clicking new. First of all, let's review the current actual options that are set, and they may be different from this picture. First, let's go over the options before we show you the current setting of the options. Again, hide instruction text will cause this line not to appear when you're using the snipping tool. Always copy snips to the clipboard. You'll have an option to save the snips after each snip is taken, but if you check this box, in addition to wherever you ask it to save the snips, they will also be saved on the clipboard. The latest snip will be saved on the clipboard each time you snip. This one we don't need to go into unless you're a programmer, and I'm not going to go into it here. This one, each time you snip, it displays the snip. And one thing you can do on that box is you can close it without saving it. If you try to do that with this checked, it will ask you, do you want to save it before you close? If you don't check that box, you can close the box displaying the snip, and the snip will not be saved. This one I don't find particularly useful. It kind of shades the entire screen when you're about to snip. But it just produces a confusing display. I don't recommend this option. This option, I've never been able to figure out what it does. I'm not going to describe it here. Let's demonstrate the snips now. First of all, it is set to do a freeform snip. And like I said, you can either click it to do it or you can click new. And I'll just go ahead and click new. Freeform snip, it tells you, since I am not hiding the instructions, it says draw a line around the area. So you click and hold the button down and you draw a line around whatever it is you want to snip. So let's do this. Let's just take a freeform area like this. Now when you release the button, it will complete the outline you've drawn with a straight line from the start to the end. So when I release it, it'll snip it and show the result. So here's the result of the snip. And like I said, it completed a straight line across here. If there were anything in there, it'd be obvious that it's snipping on a straight line. So now, on this display, you can close it or you can save it. You can click File and you can do Save As. And you can browse and save it wherever you want. it will save it as a portable network graphics file or a .png file. Let's double check how the options are set. Let's look at our options again. Now I do have it always copying snips to the clipboard, so it's always going to be on the clipboard. So even though I just X'd the box that showed the snip, if I click in the empty WordPad document and press Ctrl V, it'll paste in the snip. Remember, we just displayed it from the snip program, but now we're going to look at the clipboard. So we do Ctrl V to paste it in. There's that same snip. So it is getting saved on the clipboard, and I do recommend you always check this box for always copy snips to the clipboard. That way you won't lose any snips. And if you re-snip, it'll just replace the previous snip on the clipboard. So let's get rid of this one. Let's demonstrate another mode, rectangular snip. And I'll just do it, change it, and execute it at the same time. Remember, it remembers the last used selection. So now it's draw the cursor, drag the cursor around the area you want to capture. It's a rectangle. You can tell that by the shape of the cursor. So let's just do a rectangle, and when we release, it'll snip. There's the snip. And again, it is also on the clipboard. If I close this window, it's still on the clipboard, and I can paste it in like I just did. I'll delete. Now let's open the snip program again, and let's try another mode. By the way, the rectangular and freeform snips are very powerful. If you're using a 2-monitor system, you can drag across the boundary with either one of those, and it will correctly snip an area that overlaps 2 monitors. Let's go to the window snip. Now the window snip, you select a window you want to capture. So if you click a window, and I will click a window that I have on the other monitor, which is a text file that's open, I'll click that window. I'll bring the snip over to look at it. There's the snip of that file that was open on the other monitor, and it works just fine when you do it that way, when you click an open window. So I'll get rid of that. I'll snip this window with that same option. Remember, I have the option already set to window snip, so I'll click New. Now I'll click this window, and since that window is inside of the window for the recording program I'm using, it has snipped the entire window that I'm recording. So if you've got a window inside of a window, chances are you're going to get the outermost window. So let's get rid of that snip. Oh, and by the way, on the window snip, when you click in a window, it works properly, and it will snip a window no matter which monitor it's on. However, if you click inside the desktop on either monitor without clicking in an open window, it will snip the left monitor only. Let's open the snipping tool again. Full screen snip. Again, it always does the left monitor. No matter, there are no options on the full screen snip, and it always does the left monitor. So let's do the full screen snip. Here's the snip, and sure enough, it's the left monitor. There's no way to select which monitor it's going to snip. Please note, the full screen snip is not remembered. It does execute, but it does not replace whatever has been remembered for a previous selection mode. So keep that in mind if you're going to work with 2 monitors and you're going to use the snipping tool. Just remember, you can click open windows and it'll do it correctly. You can use the rectangle, you can use freeform. They all process exactly the way you expect them to do, but if you click an area on the monitors that isn't in a window, it's always going to capture the entire left monitor. That's the end of this video. Once again, here are several ways to visit the Tom's Tech Notes channel page.